friends, welcome to our channel Sangeeta to Teach. I hope your preparation is going well. So today we are discussing the second subtopic of teaching aptitude, that is learning characteristics. So previously we have finished the first topic, that is basics of teaching, the process of teaching, the levels of teaching, the different teaching models. I will give that link in the below description. Please, if you haven't seen that video, please look at that video. That would be the continuity of this video. And now today we are going to see the learner's characteristics and also the important topic, that is Bloom's taxonomy. And see, these are the topics that we are going to cover in our video, that is learning concept, the characteristics of learning, what are the different characteristics of learning. We'll see what else Bloom's has said about learning. We will see the dimensions of learning. There are 5 dimensions of learning and we will discuss those 5, and we will discuss the types of learners, what different types of learners are there, what are the different characteristics of adolescent and the adult learners. I have differentiated the slide and within a slide I have differentiated the characteristics of adolescent and adult learning, so that you will clearly understand how there is a change of adolescent characteristics with the adult characteristics. Okay, and finally we'll end this video with recognizing individual differences. There are some differences among ourselves, right? So we will also recognize the learner's individual differences. Okay, coming to the first part, that is learning concept. Why do we learn? We learn to get knowledge. This simple thing, right? We learn because we are motivated to learn. We learn because there is some purpose of our learning, right? So learning means to get knowledge or to think about. Learning is acquisition of new information. You acquire the new information. Like, if you don't have a previous knowledge about it, but you try to understand it because you have some new information. Okay, this might be the reason. So this is the new learning that I'm having. So it can be a modification of your existing knowledge. You already have some knowledge and you are going to make some changes or modifications and you learn. So these are the two things. Learning is an acquisition of new knowledge or by modifying the existing knowledge. So whether is knowledge only the thing that you acquire? No, it is the behavior, the values and the preferences also occur in your learning. So learning can also be conscious and unconscious. Conscious because you learn it in a structured way, like whatever you're going for your school or college, they have a planned structure, they have a syllabus, they have this kind of structured course. So it is conscious, you know that you consciously are learning, you at the end you're reading this. Unconsciously is when it happens when you meet some people, you talk to some people. When you talk to some people, you try to understand, you learn something, unconsciously. Maybe he has used some new word and you started using that word. Unconsciously you store that in your mind and you start using those words. So this can be conscious and unconscious. So this is the concept of learning. Learning is nothing but it is acquiring the knowledge, right? Coming to the characteristics of learning. What is learning actually? Learning is acquiring knowledge. What am I doing with this acquired knowledge? I am changing the behavior of myself. The change in behavior that I expect is to be positive and it has to last for a very long time. The learning leads to the change in behavior, but necessarily it should be in the terms of positive development. Second thing, that is the learning can be formal and informal. As I said you previously, consciously and unconsciously, the same way. Formal is you have a structure where formally you're going to go step by step in that learning, whereas informal you don't know, you learn from some other person. Like it can be from your parents. If they slap you, you will do it in a correct way, the informal way. That is the way of learning, we have it in our culture, right? You get a slap, you do the things correctly, right? A form of informal and formal. Coming to the next part, that is, it is not just about knowing the knowledge of facts, it is about the skills and attitudes. You can also learn the skills. You can also learn, for example, if I have to say, you can learn the communication skills, you can improve on your attitude, how better you can be. So these are all the things that you can learn. It is by observing or by having some experience prior. This is how you learn the things. And you don't need anybody to teach you. There is nobody to teach you. You don't need anybody to teach. See, one doesn't need to be taught to learn something. If you are really interested, you have that motive to learn, you can do it. You can learn it by yourself. And people learn in different ways. according to researchers, there are different learning styles. The very first one, if I have to talk, receivers. They just receive the information. They just memorize the things, and they keep it in their mind. That's it. They don't use it. They don't interpret it or do something. They just receive. They have that information. That's it. Coming to the detectives, they just receive. They learn. That's it. And coming to the detectives, they are the people who question, they inquire why this, why not that. So they start being a detective learner. They learn from asking questions, right? Generators. These are the people understand everything in a proper way, and they try to have some new ideas with their learnings. So they are generators. They create some new ideas. And if you're learning, there must be a purpose. It should be continuous in process and motivation. These are the 3 points that talks about that. There must be based on the purpose. It should be continuous. Learning is continuous, from your birth to the day you end your life, you keep on learning something. It is not that it is not consciously or unconsciously, you learn something, right? And there must be a motivation to learn. So today, if you are learning, the motivation is cracking the exam. The motivation is to crack an exam, to get a job. That is the motivation that helps you learn, right? Okay, coming to the attitudes, the fears, the gestures, the motorcycle, the motor skills, the language skills, these are all the products of learning. So you learn them. The attitude you learn, the gestures you learn, and language skills, while you're growing, you start learning. A child learns from there. Language skills, when when his parents are talking, he starts learning small words, from small words to sentences, and that is how he keeps learning, right? Coming to the Bloom's taxonomy, which I said it is very very important. Okay. Bloom's taxonomy was created in 1956, and this was given by Benjamin Bloom. Why did he create this? In order to promote high forms of thinking. See, today, if you are thinking, it is not same as the way as the day you have thought when you were in the first class or second class. That thinking process have changed. That has been developed, right? The way of analyzing, the way of evaluating the things has changed. The way you see the concept, the way you see the procedure, the way you see the principles have changed. Rather than just remembering, you have come across the way of analyzing and evaluating the things, right? Okay. Most oftenly, these are used, like, when is this Bloom's taxonomy used to design a educational course or a learning process, you use this. So how was your educational activities have been divided into 3 domains. So what are these 3 domains talking about? It is, the first one is cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So what is cognitive? Cognitive is like, wherever you see this word cognitive, just link that with your mind. That is mental skill. That is, intellectual intellectual thoughts, the knowledge oriented thoughts. It is about knowing. Cognitive is related to brain, and it is about knowing, thinking, etc. Right? Affective, affection, that gives you a feeling of growth, like it has a growth of feeling. Or emotional areas, like, you feel the attitudes, the feelings, and interest. So this is about the effectiveness, cognitive, and psychomotor, where you learn the things physically or manually by doing it. So cognitive is by knowing it, affective is by attitudes, feelings, interest, etc. Psychomotor is by doing the things physically. P for physical, psychomotor, physical. Okay, right. So I have differentiated here with the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Why do I differentiate? Simply I say, I differentiate it because it will be easy for you when you learn. One screenshot is enough, right? You need not take, if I put this in different slides, the combination or understanding it would be different, rather than comparing and studying will be easier, right? So this is what Bloom's taxonomy is. See, I said you cognitive is related to mind, so it will see the knowledge and development of intellectual skills. Affective, I said you are affectionate, like, you have that emotion, you have that feelings, that motivation, enthusiasm. These are all affections, right? Affective. Psychomotor, I said it is based on physical. P for P, that is physical. So you move, manipulate. So there are some things that come under the cognitive. Cognitive, what is that actually? When you know a knowledge, when you receive an information, when you receive an in fact, then you try to comprehend it. Comprehension, the second stage is comprehension. You try to understand the meaning, then you start applying in the application, then you analyze it, you break them into pieces and understand the meaning. Synthesis, you create a new idea for it, and finally you evaluate. The sixth step has been missing. This is evaluation. Evaluation, right? Evaluation, you try to check and judge yourself, right? The knowledge from what you have acquired. So cognitive is nothing but you remember. From this diagram you can say you remember, you understand, you apply it, you analyze whether you applied it in a correct way, you evaluate and create what you want to, right? The learner's perspective, if I have to speak. So cognitive is about the knowledge that you acquire, the intellectual skills. How do you think? See, you have a knowledge, the you memorize some facts or information. Comprehension, and comprehension, you will define the meaning of that information that you have. Application, where you apply the information, you analyze how you try to analyze the information that you have applied. And synthesize, you synthesize, you try to make a new thing out of it. And finally you evaluate, you judge yourself on what you have done. Coming to the affective, I said your affective is all about emotions, feelings, right? So first you will receive a feeling, you try to receive it, and you respond like, what is responding? There is some change, and so that because of the change in behavior you respond to it, and you start valuing it. Valuing is you value it. Organization is when you value things, you prioritize what comes first, right? You prioritize things. That is organizing. And finally characterization, finally put them into a shape. So this is effective. So this involves receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, and characterization. Coming to the psychomotor, this was developed by Dave. This is important, remember this. This was developed by Dave. How do you learn? In this, you learn by imitation. You copy from others. Manipulation, you try to manipulate things. Precision is being accurate. Then you learn. Articulation is doing one or two things, multiple things at a time. Articulation, whereas naturalization is you do the multiple things but with an ease. Like, when you practice things, it becomes easier, right? So it is about easing the things. Okay, so this is the basic difference of cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. I hope you understood. It is nothing like, cognitive is related to brain, affective is affection, psychomotor based on the physical movements and all. The only thing you have to remember is these keywords. They might be asking you, and you have to remember these keywords. That's it. And psychomotor was developed by Dave. Done. Next, coming to the dimensions of learning, I said you there are 5 dimensions of learning. So first one is attitude and perception. When you're learning, your attitude and your perception must be positive in nature. Only then you can learn. Only when you have the perspective of taking things in a right way, only then your attitude will match with it, and you take the positive things and you start learning. Coming to acquire and integrate the knowledge. See, acquiring is you get some knowledge. You integrate the knowledge. How do you integrate? You integrate, or you form an association with the previous knowledge that you had. Okay, you already have some knowledge. With that knowledge, you modify the new knowledge and you try to integrate them. You make a relation, you make an association with that knowledge, and you memorize it, and that is how you learn. So integrate is combining the knowledge with your previous knowledge that you have. Okay, extend and refine knowledge. How do you refine the knowledge? You refine it based on the going in depth, asking some questions, you clear all the misconceptions that you have. So you make clear, the things are made clear, and you try to understand in that way, and you learn particularly in depth. You just don't learn, memorize things. You understand it in detail, and you refine the knowledge. You clear all the questions that you have in your mind, and that is how you learn. Use the knowledgeable, meaningful. So you are using the knowledge, whatever you have understood, whatever you have cleared yourself, you will use that knowledge in a meaningful way, the way you wanted, the meaningful way. Okay, habits of mind. In this stage, the learner will have his own observation on, and he will evaluate on his own actions. So habit of mind is that you have learned something, so after learning what is the change in you, he will evaluate the change in himself. The self evaluation is done in the learner. Coming to the types of learners, so we have different types of learners. The learners are visual learners, like people who see, who will use the images, maps, graphs, and understand. Those are visual learners. We have visual learners, like it is like when your sense organs keep are involved in learning, they will increase the effectiveness of your learnings, right? So visual is like using the images, graphs, maps, and etc. So these types of learner are called as visual learners. The second type is an auditory learners, like who understand through listening or speaking. They use repetition or study technique. For example, somebody can read it from their own books, right? They can do it, but some don't feel like doing it. They start listening to some people. When they listen, that they understand it in a better way. We also have sometimes, some topics are so difficult that we can't read it for ourselves, but we understand what somebody is telling. So they are auditory learners. See, for example, if I have to say you don't have any knowledge and there is some group discussion going on and somebody has added some point, and so you learn that by listening to that person who has added that new point. Okay, coming to read and write. Some people have this habit of writing and reading. You read and you understand what is there in that, and you write based on your abstract or words that you feel like. So I feel that is the best way. I also use this read and write method. And coming to the kinesthetic, where you understand the information through the experience that you have. uh, we will see the characteristics of adolescent and the adults. As I said you, learners characteristics can be, it can be personal. You can learn from your personal things, you can learn from the academics, you can learn from the social and emotional and cognitive things, right? Let us see what comes under the personal. So learners characteristics are differentiated into personal, academic, social, and cognitive. Coming to personal, it can be on a demographic information. Like it can be based on their age, the gender, the language, the social, economic, cultural backgrounds. They learn from it, right? Coming to the academics, academics is a background of your education, education type, the level of education that you're taking. So from that also you learn something, so that comes under the education type, comes under the academic. Coming to the social and emotional, the learners are related to a group or an individual. They look at themselves as a self image, and they feel like they are connected to the society and they want to have that identity in the society. So they become a social they feel that they are social in nature. So they develop the learning skills from that environment. Emotionally they learn, socially they learn. That is how they learn in the social and emotional. Coming to the cognitive, the cognitive is nothing but, I said you, it is intellectual, it is related to the mental procedure. The more the development of cognitive happens, you are able to solve your own problems. It is problem solving. A decision making can be done, a proper decision making. Some people might be in a dilemma. They have some clarity. If they want some clarity, they have to develop their cognitive skills, understanding, analyzing, evaluating what would be the best to me. This comes under the cognitive. As I said you, I differentiated the characteristics of adolescent and the adult. See, these are the basic general learning characteristics we talked about. It can be personal, academic, social, and cognitive. We understood, right? And the same falls under the adolescent learners. The learners learn from their academics. Adolescent, at the age of 14 to 18 years, they come under the adolescent. So they learn from their academics, right? They learn from social, being social, socialists, being in groups, being in society. Emotionally also they keep learning by getting connected with people, having that affection and all. Cognitive, as we said, the problem solving skills are developed, right? Coming to then adult learner. The adult learner is a person who doesn't need anybody to explain him. He has his own self result, he is self-directed and he result is oriented. So he is a distant group, the characteristics will deal like he might be having his own group, like he comes under an own category where he might some people, some adults might be having an issue with their careers. Some might not be having, they are happy settled with their careers, but still they want to learn something. They're distinct groups, you can't generalize them into a group. It is a distinct group where adults come from. They are self-directed, they doesn't need somebody to say them or motivate them. They are self-directed, they know what to do. The thing is, they just want a guidance of how the path is. The only thing of adults learning, they can do it everything by themselves. They are goal oriented, they do it because they have some goal and they really want to reach that goal. Coming to the voluntary learners, they learn it because of their interest. They are result oriented, the goal oriented, as I said. The wealth of experience and knowledge, the adult learner gives value to his experiences and then he learns. So he will give and because of his experiences he may not be that open minded, but he will give that importance to the knowledge and the experience. He feels has a self esteem, self worth of him is known when he is being an adult learner. So he will have his own values and beliefs. uh, then he has, they are motivated, they motivate themselves. So motivated learners, they take multiple responsibilities, they are flexible and they say take multiple responsibilities. The adults are practical because they have seen a lot of things. So adult learning, they relate themselves and learn. They learn something which is not extraordinarily something very new. They try to link them and study. Adults are practical in nature, so they study as they want, they don't restrict themselves like that. Resistant to change, because adults are resistant to change. You can change the children, you can change the mentalities, by attracting them with some other things. But adults are very clear on what they want. They are, see, when they know what they want, they restrict themselves, right? So they don't want a change, so they resist to change. They resist to change, this is the point, they resist to change. And adults learners are responsible for themselves. No, nobody is responsible, they take their own responsibility in learning. This is the characteristics of learners, right? Simple to see. Whereas in adolescent, they are dependent, so they depend on their academics, they depend upon the society, they depend emotionally, cognitively, they try to develop themselves in that particular four areas. Whereas adult learner has seen, he's an adult, he already knows, he knows, he is self-director, he is motivated to get something. We are all adult learners, right? And we know how to read, and we know what is our goal, and we are focusing on our goal. You can do it on your own itself, voluntary learning can be done. You are oriented to the results, you have your own opinions. So you have your own characteristics as an adult. So this is the difference between the adolescent and the adult characteristics. Coming to the individual differences recognized. If I have to say, every person is different, everybody is unique. You have your own things. Like if I know the skill, you may not know that skill. If you know that skill, I may not know. So there is an individual difference among oneself, right? So what are those individual differences? So there are 8 categories. In brief, I'll say physical variation. See, the physical variation can be with the demographic changes, might be from the location, the physical change, might be in the age, gender, anything of physical nature. There is a physical difference. Okay, cognitive variation, the way of we think. The way of my thinking would be different from the way of you think. What kind of analysis you do, what kind of analysis I do, there is a differentiation. So there is a cognitive variation. Emotional variation, some feel very emotional, some feel a moderate emotional, some don't at all feel. I don't say they don't at all feel, but they don't show it up. So they might be an emotional variations as well. Coming to the interest and aptitude variation, my interest on learning something is different from your interest. If you like movies and you have interest in doing movies is different. Whereas when I love teaching, I have the interest in teaching. So the interest and the aptitude also varies in self concept. I may look myself in a different way and you may look yourself in a different way. The self concepts also differ. There is a variation in learning styles. As I said you, persons may be receivers, detectives, or generators. Like receivers, my some people have this style of receiving the information, but they don't understand or give a purpose of it, but they just memorize the things that can be forgotten at some point of time. Whereas when you understand, it cannot be forgotten anytime. So different skills, like detective skills where you ask questions and learn, generative skills where you generate your new ideas. This kind of skills of learning also vary from one person to another person. My way of learning style is different from your way of learning style. The moral and the social variation. See, some people are very moral. They do consider the laws and orders in a way, whereas some they don't obey the laws and the things that are related to social. There might be a variation. If I agree, you may not agree to the same point, right? So psychomotor variation, like psychomotor is related to physical. Like my ability in holding a weight or something would be different from your uh, uh, physical way. Like your holding capacity might be different, my physical capacity might be different, your physical capacity might be different. So these are the variations that a person have, and as individual differences. So it can be physical, cognitive, emotional, interest, self concepts, the learning styles. As I said, you learning styles is important, where you have receivers, detectors, and generators. So this is what we have revised. I hope it is clear. Okay, we discussed the learning concept, characteristics of learning, Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is important. There are three stages: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. And this is also the same thing. There are 5 dimensions. These are the 5 dimensions of learner. Types of learners: visual, auditory, read and write, kinesthetic. Characteristics of adolescent and adults. We have looked at these characteristics and recognizing the individual differences. And now let's have a question on this. The knowledge quiz. So, which of the following, according to the Bloom's traditional taxonomy, the highest level of teaching in cognitive domain is? Why did I give this question? Because I wanted you people to have that screenshot of that comparison of the Bloom's taxonomy. So, what is the highest level of teaching in the cognitive domain? Cognitive domain. What is that? It is evaluation. As I said you, this point has been covered with the picture. So you have to remember this is evaluation. So where you evaluate is the highest category. After doing, you apply it. After applying, what is the judgment, whether it has been correctly given, or you check for the evaluation. So the highest cognitive domain is evaluation, right? If you want to see, I will show it. This is why I put. So this will start from a basic to the complex one. Cognitive. Knowledge is the first one. The last one I said you here, the evaluation was missing. That was the question I asked. That. So everything is clear, and everybody has understood. Okay. So the next video we're coming up with the learners theories. Like there are different theories in learners which are very, very important in the exam point of view. We'll cover that, and we'll also look at the previous year question papers on this particular topic, right? Okay, I hope you're liking this series. Thank you. If at all you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. Please like and share with your friends. Thank you so much.